What up, what up? It's Prospector Phil here, and today I'm going to show you how you can add an antler handle to an old knife blade. So take something like that and turn it into something like that right there. So really all we need, we aren't going to use pins, we aren't going to use epoxy, we're just going to use some boiling water and an antler. And helps if you got a grinder, a sander, something, because we'll probably have to take the tang part down to make it fit up inside the antler. But I'm going to go look and see what antlers I got. So here's my box of random antlers and crap. And you can see, obviously I haven't found all of them out in the woods. That one's been painted. Honestly, I find as many at yard sales as I do out looking in the mountains. But I'll show you. This will be a good example here. When you cut the antler, you got the pith right here in the middle. And when you boil that, it turns into like a super glue. So that would actually be pretty dang close to what I want. But I don't have a button or anything on that one, so I don't know if I'll use it or not. What do you think about that, huh? There's the weapon for you. Yeah. Yeah, that one probably no good. Ooh, I have some spike elk down here. Let me see. That's almost not thick enough. So I guess it's a toss-up between that one right there, which is kind of skinny, or this fat, pointy, white one. I think that would look better. Yeah, that one there would definitely look better. It's just, it's skinny, which would mean I'd have to really grind that tang down to get it to fit. And this button's kind of jaggled. Yeah. Let's try this one. Alright, so I got the antler picked out. And let's see, I'm just going to lay that on there, but let me check the grip. Something like that right there. So I want the guard about there. So I'm just going to mark out here where I'm going to cut it with a hacksaw. I just need a little line there as a guide. That'll be about right. Yeah, that's about right. So I'm just going to cut this with the hacksaw right at my little mark there. And then I'm going to get rid of these and try and clean this up a little bit before we move to the next step. Well, I was going to use the Dremel tool to cut these rivets out. And then I decided I got this stupid little bench grinder here from Harbor Freight. So I'm just going to take and remove these ends, and then those rivets should just pop right out. But that worked like a charm. Now this should just come right off. And a little bit rusty. Okay, that won't just come right off. But it will come off. So now I can clean that up and clean up this nasty funky blade, which I think is a good blade underneath there. It's just got a whole bunch of surface rust and some pitting. Okay, to clean the blade, I'm just going to use one of these sanding blocks because that's easy. It's just a foam block with sandpaper on the outside, and I'll just clean it off how I can. You don't have to watch this. This is pretty boring, but I want to make it a little bit nicer than it is right now. And I mean, you could also use just regular sandpaper or put it around a block of wood, and you could even use a file. There's different chemicals, rust removers, stuff like that that'll help you clean that up. But Hopefully your blade looks a little bit better than mine, because mine's looking kind of sad right now. So I'll do that, and we'll move on to the next step. So just a minute or two sanding with the sanding block, and it's definitely not perfect, but that's the one side. There's the other. That needs some work, but that should just take another minute or two with my sanding block. Run that across there. Okay, I got the blade cleaned up somewhat. Good enough for now anyway. That'll work. And the good news is this guard fits on a lot better now. So if you remember earlier, I picked out an antler, and then I just took my hacksaw to it. This will be the handle. So what I need to do now is I need to figure out how much tang I can put inside this. And if you look at the antler, you'll see that dark line that goes all the way around. This hard outer part is the bone, and then inside is the pith. So I need to have my tang skinny enough to fit within these black bands that are on the two outer edges here, which means I got a decent amount of grinding to do. So next step, grind down this side, grind down this side, and then make sure it fits within those black bands all the way down. All done. Yeah, just kidding. So at least I got the tang file down, or ground down, I guess. I tapered it just slightly at the edge here, and I tried to leave just a little bit of meat on the back end. Didn't really leave enough there for the guard. And then I also took this and just quickly sanded that edge down, make it a little more flush. And so now what I need to do is I'm going to take this, yeah, that's the way I want to hold it right there, and I'm going to put the guard on there, something like that. Then I'll take this marker and mark it, and I'm also just going to put a little dot or something right at the front edge, just so I don't end up putting it in backwards when we get to that point. Alright, I got the guard outline there, both sides plus a line down the middle, and then I also took the tang and put it across so I could kind of get a center point when we go to mount it. And then finally, right there, mark that little spot as the front. Oh, and again, finally, I took each side, because I got a little bit on each side that I really don't want sticking out, so I'm gonna put this on the sander and taper it down. And so I just measured down 1/2 inch and made a little mark on each side. So if you've never sanded or ground or done anything with antlers and power tools, holy crap, it stinks. So this is the worst part. I'm just going to taper both of these sides down real quick, and then we can get to actually inserting the blade into the antler itself. And in case you're wondering, I got a little bit of extra antler here. Now I could cut that down and make another knife, and you know, some people like that. I really don't like the feel of having the tine for a handle. I like having a solid, fat, meaty handle, something that I can manhandle, so to speak. But you wouldn't even need this much. For now, it's just going to go back in the antler pile. But one thing you can do is just cut off slices. Maybe we'll do another video and turn them into antler rings. And those are, kind of fun. Sometimes they have some neat patterns in them, but that doesn't take a whole lot of antler at all, and comes out with a halfway decent ring. So there's a lot of things I could do with this. I could even sell it for the weight, but I'm not going to get a whole lot out of it, so I'll just keep it around until I find another project to use it for. In the meantime, we'll finish this project. Yeah, that looks about right. Got the taper on both sides. About where I want it. Now we can actually put the blade in there. That's right. I do have a pot to piss in. I'm not that poor yet. So I think I got everything set up here. Hopefully everything I need. I got this giant pallet, so I just mounted the bench vise there. Make it easier, because right here I got just a plain old propane camp stove. And my pot's gonna go on there. My blade is going in the vise. And then here's the handle we made. That'll go in there. And I also got a set of tongs, so I can pull it out. You can just use whatever. But we're gonna get this up to boiling, so I really don't want to stick my bare hand in there when it's boiling. Not a good idea. And then as soon as I pull the antler out, it's gonna be hot, so I want a glove. So let's see here. I've also got just a cloth napkin, but you can use whatever. This is just to protect the blade from the vise so I don't put all sorts of nasty marks on it. And we're gonna do it kind of like that. And then close that up. Great. Okay, so I got the water heating up now. Give it a little bit, takes a while to boil water. I'm gonna go ahead and toss the handle in there. And just let that go. Now there's really two important factors here. First, don't burn yourself and don't burn down your neighborhood. And second, even more important, is when you go to put that handle on, make sure you push it straight on. You don't want to wiggle it at all, because it's pith. It's going to create a hole in there, and if you wiggle it, that hole isn't going to close and your tang is going to end up being loose in the handle. So that's the most important thing to remember. Push it straight on. It's going to take several times, I assume. But once it gets going, just make sure. That's why I got this bench vise here, so I can try and get as straight a shot as possible. And just get it straight on there. Don't wiggle at all if you can help it. It's not hot enough yet, but once it starts boiling, I'll probably leave it in there for, I don't know, 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. We're just softening up that inside there so that we can attach it to the blade. Okay, boiling for about 30 seconds. Most important step right here. Here we go. Let's see, upside down. And line it up and just push. Uh-oh, that's not, dang it, that's not tight in my vise. So I got a little hole there. Back in the water. Tighten this up. Come on, give me some love in here. Give me some lovin'. Okay, we gotta crank this sucker down. I don't want that blade going anywhere. It's back in the water, still boiling. We'll let it go another 30 seconds-ish. We're good, because this is gonna take several attempts to get it all the way on there. Straight in as best you can. Ow! I need 2 gloves. Pull it off. Back in the water. And do it again. Alright, we're getting closer. So once you get the water going, the antler hot, it's boiling. You don't have to let it soak for quite 30 seconds. Just throw it in there, let it start bubbling again, and pull it out. Started to wiggle it there a little. Don't want that. And throw it back in. So we're up to the second hole in the tang. A couple more times. I think I've done that. That's about the 10th time I've pulled it out and done that. So a couple more times and we should be able to set it and be done. Alright, I think we're at the last time. One or two more times. So I'm going to make sure that guard is where I want it. Approximately, it looks like I might end up with a crooked guard. Oh well. And we'll do it again, and this time I'm going to try and shove it all the way and then just hold it and let it cool. Owie, that's so hot. So hot. Okay. That's as good as I'm going to get. So I'm going to let that cool off for quite a while. And as it cools, that pith is going to turn into a glue. And hopefully it'll hold that tang in there. Alright. So I've let it cool down for about 15-20 minutes. It's probably still warm on the inside, but it's looking decent. And I gotta finish this before the sun goes down because it's starting to get chilly already. And got a spider on the camera. Hold on. Mr. Spider, go away. But it feels like it's fairly solid. I can give that quite a bit of tug there and it doesn't budge. The guard isn't slipping, so let's pull it out and take a look. Yeah. Well, there it is. That's not bad at all. That guard, I didn't get it 100% straight. Pretty dang close. But the guard isn't moving at all. The handle isn't moving at all. Not quite cooled yet, but pretty close. And then all I have to do, still got a little Sharpie mark there, and on this side as well. I can take those off with like some rubbing alcohol. I could clean up the blade too, but hey, that's character right there. Yeah. That'll be a good knife. I like it. Even though that button's kind of funky. I like the grip. I like the size. A little bit bigger than I normally make. Of course, I probably will clean this up just a little bit and then put a new edge on there, sharpen it up. Actually make it functional. But there you go. That's how you can take a knife blade and stick it into an antler. And no glue, no rivets. Just a little bit of hot water and some effort. Yay. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. And there's a lot more coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned.